Hey everybody, this is Pops Reviews, and I'm back with one more video here about the Squared Circle, a pro wrestling simulation game. This video, I'm not doing a playthrough. This is just really how to get started into the game, what you're going to be needing, and some of my own little home brews that I've kind of just figured out while playing this game that maybe might be beneficial to you when you play your own game. I'm just going to go over some of those little things, and hopefully this video helps you out. I've kind of, in the past videos, I've kind of, have been doing little mini tutorials, I guess you would say, of what's going on with the game, what you're needing, and that. So I thought I would just make a whole, just one video. Hopefully it's a short video on what you're going to be needing and where to get everything that you need to play. So let's get started here with that. And so the first thing, again, you're going to need are dice. So when playing the Squared Circle Wrestling game, well, I guess first off, you will actually need the actual book, actually. So let's start there. So you get, this is the core rule book. Okay, so this is essentially the first book you really should be getting for the game. So you could get this, again, in hardcover, which I have. You can get it in soft cover, and you can get it in a PDF format. Again, I would recommend getting it in the PDF format for reasons of, playing the game. You have the different wrestlers and rules. You don't want to be flipping back and forth. And if you paid, a lot of money for your hardcover book, you don't want to be ripping pages out of your hardcover. So for those reasons, I would get the PDF first. Print out what you need to print out. And then if you're happy with the product, then, get the softcover, hardcover, for reviewing purposes or whatever, that helps you out later. Or, if you're a pure collector of just wrestling genre thematics, whatever. So this is essentially what you need to get first. I recommend, again, PDF first, then whatever book you need after. Okay, then after that, you're going to need dice. So you're going to need D20s. I say D20s because when you're rolling for control, you're going to have one for one wrestler, one for the other, or tag team, whichever. And then you're going to be rolling, and you don't want... there's a thing, again, called the wrestling raffle chart. So if you roll ties, you're going to, revert to that. Possibly. You don't have to, but, you're less likely to roll ties on D20s than rolling D10s. Now, you're going to have to need to get D10s. You could also roll these instead of the D20s for control, but preferably I would rather roll the D20s. But the D10s are also come into play because once your wrestler has rolled for control and gets control, you're going to have to roll a D20s under wrestling chart. So again, you would have to pick whichever wrestlers you're going to wrestle with. So here I have Road Warrior Hawk. So here's his moveset again. So you're going to need his moveset is ranked from 0-1 down to 0-0, which is 100. So you're going to roll, once he has control, let's say Hawk was the blue dice, once he has control, you roll the two D10s, you're going to have a single and preferably a double digit one, and you're going to roll a 64, then you're going to look up Hawk on the 64 chart. He did a flying shoulder block doing plus 20 damage. So that's how you would do it. Then you would take off 20 off of the opponent. So one thing, I guess, another thing I should mention, as I'm getting all carried away here with all this stuff, is, again, you're going to be wanting to print off the wrestlers that you're playing with. So this sheet here, you might want to print off, so you know exactly where the guys are ranked. Here it shows like Ric Flair is the top guy at 1,000 power points. So you might want to print this off here, so then you have easy access to who has what power points and what they're going to be using. So you're going to do that. And before you get into a match, you're going to have to print off some other sheets here, right? So obviously you're going to have your wrestlers that you print off. So you're going to have, something like Hawk if he was in the match. So you have to print off Hawk sheet. Then you're also going to have to print off the cheat sheet that comes in the core rule book. You're going to print off the thrown out of the ring chart. Okay. And then also there's a little small chart on the, so this is page 30 and 31 for the thrown out of the ring charts. You also, and this also has the match time limit. So if you want to go and have, a match and you want to have a time limit, it shows you, excuse me, exactly how many moves are used for, till you get to 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you set your time to. Or of course you could also set a real timer to your match. That's also possible if you want to do that. So you print off the thrown out of the ring chart, the cheat chart. You're also going to have the wrestling raffle chart. Okay, so you have your wrestling raffle chart. Again, this is where a lot of the shenanigans comes in, a lot of the flavor to the match. It is recommended that you use these wrestling raffle charts for more of the kind of, more meaningful matches, not the, Saturday morning type match, wrestling against the enhancement talent guy. You're going to be using these charts here for flavor of your more bigger matches. So again, you're going to roll a D10. It goes from 1 all the way up to 100, 00. Okay, so you're going to be rolling D10s for that. So you got to print off that. Now, one thing to be careful with as well is that this is for JCP, Jim Crockett Promotions. This came out of the core rule book. You also have different wrestling raffle charts that are also in the other territory books that also are different from that as well. That also give your territory flavor. So another thing you're going to need to print out is the sorry, you can't see that there, but is the pinfalls and submission chart. So I have it printed out here, pinfall and submission chart. But also, this is for Jim Crockett Promotions here, this one here. But also, you also have this one here. That's more for the, the WWF territory pin chart. So this is something you might want to print out as well for your other territories by going, because it is different. They give you the same example on the top here, but it's different on the bottom. So this one is more suited to the WWF promotion. This one is more suited to the the Jim Crockett NWA promotion. So that's something you'd also have to print out if you're playing with the different territories. So you're gonna print that out, and this is in the the WWF book here, and then you have also your quick play. You could print that out if you want, but it's not, that's totally up to you if you want to use the quick play. And then again, the wrestling raffle chart is going to be different in the WWF book than it is to the NWA book. The numbers and what happens in some of the what do you call it? The different sections, the different numbers that you roll are actually a little bit different to each other. In a lot of the books, they're different in the different territories. And here you see, like, from 19 to 21, this is the rough bump chart here. This is the rough bump. On the same wrestling raffle chart, there's actually a section where if you roll in between these numbers, there is a rough bump chart. So, again, you pick whichever wrestling raffle chart suits your territory, and, each book is kind of flavored for that promotion. So just keep that in mind when playing, and, to have that possibly ready on hand. And all that, again, that's all in the Squared Circle book, in the WWF, the 1985-1990 New York territory. Okay, so you have that. All right, and then you print out your guys, and I was going through the dice as well. So for the cheat sheet, the cheat chart, okay, for this chart here, you're going to have to roll a D8 if that comes up. If the wrestler has a cheat on their thing here, on their sheet for their moves. So if we look at, say, Ric Flair, now this is here, I'll show you this after my binder here. But so let's say you're using, Ric Flair, and he rolls a cheat, which is a 95 to 97. Then you're going to refer to this cheat chart, and this here tells you you're gonna roll a d8 for that. This also is the cheat chart is also for manager use. So if he has a manager, you're gonna roll a 1d6, and if it's a 1 or a 2, then the manager. So if he had, James J. Dillon here, and he rolls a 1 or a 2 on a d6, so you're gonna need a d6 dice for that as well. Then you get to roll for J.J. Dillon's his shenanigans on his chart for cheating. So that's something to keep in mind. We're going to come back to that after in a sec here. And as you can see, I've made a binder here. I have a binder here with all the guys I laminated and hole punched the sheets here so I could keep it organized. So that's what I did for mine. And, so it's a little easier access to get the guys' sheets or whatever. That's how I keep my stuff together for this after printing it out on a PDF. So that's one way to kind of keep your game organized. Okay, so again, you've picked your wrestlers out, and you have your dice. So again, you have your D20s, your D10s. You're gonna have a D8. You're also gonna have a D6 because once the wrestler rolls for control and then they do their move off their chart. So if it's a vertical suplex that does a plus 18, then you would also roll a d6 to add 6, so 18, 19, 20, 21, 23. So that'd be 23 damage against, say Road Warrior Animal, right? So that's all you would need for dice essentially for this game. If you're rolling against a lesser talent, so let's say Animal was rolling against someone like let's say Tony Zane, who's ranked 51 out of the 58 wrestlers, and he's at 130 power points. Animal is at 640 power points. So maybe if you want to kind of show the difference in skill, you could roll a d20 to a d6, and that way. So actually they're tied here, actually 2 and 2. That's kind of funny. So you wouldn't go to the raffle chart because this would be Animal against Tony Zane. Animal should be tearing them up. Here you see Animal rolled a 19, Tony Zane a 2. So then Animal essentially would have control. He'd probably have a lot more control in the match when you roll these two dice because this is only going up to 6. This is going all the way up to 20, right? So it goes as far as to 6s, and then after that he has so many different opportunities against Tony Zane. So that would be something if you want to play your squash matches. You would roll a different dice. You could kind of decide where the line is for who rolls a d6. Maybe up to another certain line. Maybe a guy is rolling d8s against a d20, and then maybe up to another ranked certain amount of guys. Maybe you start rolling a d10 to a d20, and then your d20 to your d20. So that's totally up to you. But that's essentially the dice that you will need for this game. Okay. So now that we've talked about the dice, we've talked about the once you have the power points, so Animal here is 640 points. So if he's in a singles match, you'd have your 640 points as level 0, and then you'd write down the different levels for him to play at. So level 1 you're going to times at his 640 it was, right? For Animal, 640 times a 0.8 will give you level 1, times a 0.6 will give you level 2, times a 0.4 level 3, and times a 0.2 for level 4. So that's how you figure out the levels for each guy. And for this game, you're able to play them at their full level at level 0. So playing at level 0 would be 640 points, or you could choose to play at a lower level. That way it's ascribed by Mr. St. Patrick that you're playing at maybe a different part of the match here if you played a lower level. But if it's towards your comfort zone of playing, because these matches, they tend to usually go long if you play as what is printed on the sheets here. So it'd be up to you if you want to play a full match at their full points, or come down to the different levels and play at that. That's totally up to you. Okay, so I think that's all basically what you'll need for a singles match. if you play a tag team match, so again, we're going to use Animal here. So if you play a tag team match, so Animal, he will get his 640 points, okay? And then Hawk, his partner, Hawk is going to get his 660 points. And then because they're the Road Warriors, because they're an actual tag team, you would add the 640 points for Animal teaming up with Hawk. So that's you'd add the 200. So now he's at 840 points. And you do the same for Hawk if he's teaming up with Hawk. If you had Animal teaming up with Ric Flair, then they would just stay at their points. They would just stay at their, Animal would just stay at 640 because Animal and Ric Flair aren't tag team partners. So they wouldn't get a tag team bonus because they're not actual partners. But if they have your actual partner, you're going to give them the tag team points bonus to make them a formidable tag team. So for tag team wrestling, you're going to do that to calculate their moves, and then you would do the same calculation for levels. Okay, now the other thing you'd have to print out if you're playing a tag team match again is a tag team tagging chart. So this here, it shows you from, if a team is ranked A, B, C, or D. Okay, and then in the case of the Road Warriors, so you also would have to print out, the Road Warriors tag team moveset. Okay, so this tells you that they're a team rating B. So whenever they tag, and tagging is when you roll your D20s, so if the Road Warriors were the red dice, instead of doing one of their moveset, instead of Animal referring to his moveset, he would say that he wants to tag out. So then he tags out, he wants to tag out, so then they're according to their tag team moveset, a team rating B. So you would look on the B rated chart, you would see the different rolls for D10s. So you would roll the D10s to see what happens. You would announce he's tagging out at 25. On the B, 25, you successfully make the tag. So then if Animal would be able to tag in Hawk. So that's what you would do for your tag team. So you need to print out this tag teaming chart. And then you'd have to print out the team's move sets. So the Road Warriors, if you're using them, you would print out their move set if you're playing them as a tag team. And then this would tell you, what they do if you're instructed to go to this tag team move set. Another thing too, if you're playing with guys that aren't tagging, that aren't usually teammates, then you're going to do a D-rated team move set. Okay, so this is also on the D-rated tag team. So this is for teams that don't usually tag. You would roll on this particular chart here, and then they don't have move sets like the Road Warriors or the Andersons or whoever you're playing with. So then you're going to roll on this chart here, the D-rated team move set, for just kind of like generic tag team moves that they might pull off, a double kick, a double elbow, whatever, kind of like generic stuff that, two guys who aren't tag team partners would maybe do in a tag match. So those are the different charts that you would essentially have to print out. Another chart you might want to print out is also the Andre the Giant chart. And this is for guys who aren't able to, do things to Andre, like they don't have the strength, or Andre, they show, like Uncle Elmer, those kind of big guys that didn't really have mobility. Then, you kind of roll on this chart here for the wrestlers to see what they do when they do any kind of damage to Andre or whichever big guy that's not really mobile you'd be facing. So this might be a chart you want to print out. Andre, of course, is in the New York Territory set, Territory book. So he's not in the Jim Crockett Promotions one, but this is something you could have, for reference when you do use Andre. So those are essentially the charts you have to print out. And I think that's essentially, what you need to get started. You're rolling. You're going to be rolling the dice, getting control, referring to the guys' move sets, what they do by rolling D10s, and then you check out the move set. You write down what the damage. Whether you could keep track on, if you have a computer, a power pad, you saw me in different videos writing on flashcards, memo cards, or whatever to keep track. Whatever it is, however you feel comfortable keeping track of the PowerPoints, damage taken, that's totally up to you. And again, if you also want to write the moves, to keep track of the moves, it's all in the core book. There's actual printed pages if you want to print those out to keep track like that, or like I said, keep track on a laptop or whatever you want to use to write out everything for the game here. So that's totally up to you. I'm just going for it here. Yeah, so here you can see if you kind of want to officially, sorry for trying to get this in the site here. So here you can see this is for the squared circle singles matches, and then there's one for the tag matches. So you could write the moves if you want on something like this. You could print these out if you want, or again, you could do it on whatever computer, laptop, telephone, whatever that you want to keep track of your stuff. Okay, so I think that about covers what you'll need to play the game. And essentially, again, it's just going to be the back and forth flow of rolling, your D20s or D10s, whichever you prefer to use. Again, I recommend using the D20s for your more normal matches, evenly matched matches kind of thing. Okay, so now that all that's been covered, what are some of the home things that I've done for this game? Okay, so one complaint, I guess, about this game is that it's too long. That the guys have their PowerPoints. Ric Flair's at 1,000 PowerPoints. And he's playing against someone like Road Warrior Animal, who's at 640 PowerPoints. That this might take all day to play. That's totally going to be up to you if you want to play it. Just as the game was made, that is totally up to you. The game is supposed to be a wrestling simulation. So, if you want to play it like that is totally up to you. And then, just be warned that it's going to take a while to do it like that. Okay. Again, you do have the different levels that you can play at. So again, at each level, the guy's energy, power points will, come down because you've times it by 0.8, a 0.6, and so on. So then you could play it at a level 3 if you want, or a level 4. So you could do it like that. But actually, what I've actually found, and if you watched the last video, is if you actually just double the damage of the points. So if you want to play them at their full strength, and then you roll the dice, animal, he got his big clothesline off. So you double it now. So instead of the 20, you do 40. And then you roll the D6 to add to the 40. Now it's a 43. So now he's doing 43 points against Ric Flair's 1,000 points or whatever. So that's going to be a lot faster than doing, say, 23 points of damage. You've doubled it now, right? So now you're kind of making the match go a little more quicker, maybe a little more manageable to play, and not maybe, kind of grinding through the match, kind of thing. So that's something that you could probably do, is just double the points of the move value plus adding the dice roll to it. Okay, so that's one tip of playing this game, is doubling the point values of the damage. Okay, so that's one thing. Another thing to be mindful of, if a guy is thrown out of the ring, okay? There's something on here. I just wanted to kind of show it here. Where is it? Okay, so let's say here. So let's say you roll a 93 to 96. You're outside the ring. The control wrestler rams head into steel post and bloodies opponent, and the opponent does the same. So this is saying that both the guys, they're beating each other up. One guy rammed the other guy's head in a pole. The other guy rammed the other guy's head into the pole. They're both bleeding. Okay, now something you have to really read what's going on sometimes, because here it says control wrestler suplexes opponent on the floor. Both return to the ring, right? So this doesn't say both return to the ring. So this would be something where you'd possibly re-roll again and check to see again what's happening on the outside of the floor. control loser rams head into the steel post, both return to the ring. So, and then you have, your end of match effects. So just really pay attention. This 93 to 96, to me, it's really saying, they're both on the outside. They haven't returned to the ring. So re-roll again on the outside again to see what happens. So that's something to be mindful of when playing with the thrown out of the ring chart. And also with these tag teaming charts, if you buy the New York Territory book and you want to play as the Dream Team of Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake, they don't have their moveset in that book. So you could send your not your complaint, I guess, but your request for Valentine and Beefcake at the squaredcircle@gmail.com. Mr. St. Patrick, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to send you out a little care package that would have the Valentine and Beefcake moveset. So just be mindful of that when purchasing the New York Territory, that you're going to have to ask him for that moveset if you want to play as Valentine and Beefcake doing their tag moves. Okay, so I think that covers most of the stuff. Now, one thing I want to add now is the managers. I want to get back to the managers here. So, the managers, again, they only come in when your wrestler rolls a cheat roll, okay? So a cheat roll, if we're going to look at Ric Flair. So let me flip this over, sorry guys. So we're going to look at Ric Flair, and we're going to see his cheat, again, was a 95 to 97. So that's 95, 96, 97 out of 100. So that's 3 out of 100 that he's possibly getting to cheat to possibly bring in J.J. Dillon into the match, right? Now, that's not even for sure, because then, again, it says when a wrestler's initial cheat roll is a 1 or a 2, they will consult the following manager's sheet. It's on a 1 or a 2 on a D6. So that's still not even guaranteed, even when you roll the cheat, that J.J. Dillon is coming into the match, okay? There's also, a possibility that, if you roll on the wrestling raffle chart, they might have something to do with the manager. But a lot of the times, the only way to really get the manager in the match is with that cheat roll. Okay, and if you looked at Ric Flair's moveset, that's only 3% out of the 100% that he's possibly going to have a cheat. So to me, that really seems, it just really, I don't know, just kind of like the manager seems really moot, really. He's not really doing anything. If you watched some of the other videos, if you watched the solo promoter video, he had a match with Honky Tonk Man against Leaping Lanny Poffo, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to slight spoil that video because it's a little older, but Poffo won the match, right? And then Jimmy Hart didn't do anything in the match. He just kind of stood there and watched it, And the same, I had a match with the Road Warriors against the Midnight Express that I played on camera, and Jim Cornette is in the corner of the Midnight Express, and he didn't get involved in the match either, right? I didn't roll any cheats, so he didn't get involved. And then, of course, these kind of guys, Cornette, Jimmy Hart, Bobby the Brain, J.J. Dillon, they're going to get involved in the match, right? And if you look at their manager chart here, their moveset, you're going to see, the manager, the whole thing from 1 to 100, they're hurting their opponent, they're hurting the other wrestler, right? They're hurting, everything is usually something to hurt the opposing wrestler. Okay, so what I've kind of homebrewed for that to get the managers more in use in the game is to each manager will have 2 control roles of their own. Okay, so when do you use these control roles? Well, one you could use for if say again, Ric Flair is getting damaged, he's been brought down to his 1,000 points, he's at like 500 and something. He's halfway down his points. He's getting in real trouble. So maybe J.J. Dillon wants to interfere in the match because he's like, he's not having it. So what you could do uh, is have J.J. Dillon roll against the wrestler. So let's say it's Animal. So they both roll, right? And if J.J. Dillon is the red dice, let's just say for this here, if he loses the roll, now he has two rolls that he's able to do. So if he loses the roll to Animal, Animal is going to get the advantage, and what's going to happen is Animal is probably going to punch him out on the ring apron because he got up, J.J. Dillon's looking to interfere. Animal won the control roll, so now he punched J.J. Dillon, the manager, because he won the control roll, and J.J. Dillon is essentially, I would say, that for winning the control, you can either punch, slap, or push, whatever you feel is comfortable, for whatever man, manager, lady, valet, whatever the case is, that they got hit essentially by the wrestler. So when that happens, because again on the manager chart, it's all offense by the manager against the opponent, right? So this is the only way to really attack the manager. So if the opposing wrestler wins the roll against the manager, he's like knocked the manager down off the apron. And that would cause the manager to not be able to interfere for 10 moves. Okay? So I want you guys to really try this and see if this really works, because I want this maybe to go back to Mr. St. Patrick to maybe fix up the managers a little bit so they're a little more active and not just kind of standing at ringside and watching their wrestlers go down, right? So for this roll, I would say the Animal wins the roll, the manager tried to interfere, and then Animal takes a shot at J.J. Dillon, he's down, and then he's out for 10 moves. So essentially he would lose one of his controls because he had two, so now he's down to one. He lost that one, and then he would be out for 10 moves, and anything could happen probably in 10 moves, right? Because he's on the floor kind of knocked down, trying to get back up and get his senses going. There's still action going on in the ring, so then anything could happen. Animal probably could pin Ric Flair at this point, while J.J. Dillon's on the ground, getting his senses. So that's one way the manager can interfere. Now if he interferes, he rolls a 20. If he gets a dice roll, then again, you get to refer to the chart. You would roll your D10. He rolls a 23. J.J. Dillon forearms Animal. So that'd be a +4. Or if you double it, a +8. You'd roll the dice. That'd be a 9 damage. He forearmed Animal. So at least he got involved. He did something. Again, obviously, if the manager gets involved, the referee is being distracted probably by Ric Flair, so he's able to get involved. So that would be one. That would be essentially one. Let's say he wanted the initial one, so that would be one of his two control roles, was to try and interfere. Essentially he's trying to do a bigger role to try and have something bigger happen, but again, he's only able to get a forearm off on Animal, so he did little minimal damage or whatever. But there are bigger stuff that he has. A lot of the managers have bigger stuff, where it's leading to pinfalls. There's an automatic pinfall, or, hits them with a shoe. So that, that's 25. You double it, that's 50, whatever. And, an asterisk, which could lead to a pin, right? So that's really would be damaging the opponent, right? So, this is a way to really get the manager involved. Now, the other way would be if, let's say Ric Flair is getting pinned, and J.J. Dillon's concerned. They're on the pin chart. He's at a count of 2 already. J.J. Dillon, then could challenge and make a control roll against Animal, or against kind of like the referee. And if the referee wins the control roll, then he would continue on with the pin. But if J.J. Dillon won the control roll, then again, he'd get to interfere, breaking up the count, able to roll on his chart again, do whatever shenanigans he has to do. And then after that, it goes back into the match, right? So that's my way of, I'm going to be playing with the managers for this game. And then if you feel like, say, like Jim Cornette or J.J. Dillon are like, really, really uh, interference. They're really, more than say like someone like Precious, obviously, or something like that, or more than Elizabeth or that kind of character. You can maybe give one of them maybe three control roles in the match if you feel like they're that strong, to be interfering in the match, right? So I would use that selectively for whichever managers you feel are more active than others. I would initially maybe keep it at the two for now. Try it like that, and then if you feel like Cornette or Jimmy Hart or Bobby the Brain, or they're not interfering enough with the two, then maybe give them the three, right? But and then one other thing too, is that if they roll, if there was a tie roll, so if they both roll a tie, um, this would simulate if a tie is rolled that the manager got thrown out. Okay, so he tried to interfere, the referee wasn't having it, and the manager is thrown out of there, and you lost all privileges with your manager. Okay, so that could happen if a tie result happens on any of the manager's control rolls. So that's a gamble that you're going to have to take. That could happen, or possibly the manager's taking a risk. He's trying to get involved in the match, and then he gets knocked down by the opposing wrestler. So it's a bit of a risk factor that you'd have to take with the manager. That's totally up to you, and then obviously if Ric Flair would say roll his cheat while Cornette or J.J. Dillon's knocked down on the ground, then he'd have to go to your regular cheat chart because J.J. Dillon is obviously he's knocked out on the floor. So again, this is how I think maybe it should be played, just to get the manager more involved in the match. You let me know what you think, if you think that's a fair rule or not. Again, it's this is a homebrew house rule, but I really think the game suffers from two things. One is obviously was the PowerPoints. I think for myself, I fixed it to just double the damage for the moves, and or also play at a lower level. So I think for me that's great. I'm happy with that. And then the other thing, the managers were just kind of just standing there. They're kind of just moot, doing nothing. So I think this is a way to get them involved in the match, or to feel like at least there was some involvement. He tried. If you got knocked out, you got knocked out. Like that's all part of the wrestling, right? So, I think any little thing that helps benefit this game, make it, more streamlined, and not that anything is wrong in the game, right? The game is a great game, but again, like if we could just make things smoother, and have it flow a little better, and that kind of thing, I think there's nothing wrong with that. And especially when you buy a game, you invest time, you invest your money into a game. You want to be able to enjoy your game. You want to feel like this is a true wrestling match. You've exhausted everything that you could out of the match, essentially, right? If you got managers at ringside, you want them to feel like, hey, I got Jim Cornette in my corner, and he's going to try and do something, and he's going to get involved and all that, and play out like his character in the match as well. And some of the newer sheets as well for cheats, for wrestler movesets. I'm just going to just quickly show you. Excuse me. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Let me just quickly show you guys a guy's wrestling cheat set. So, like, let's say here for Harley Race, right? So his cheat is a 1-2, right? So that's only 2% that Bobby Heenan is going to come into the match, right? When it feels like Bobby Heenan is should be coming in more, right? If in case Harley Race is going down, or whoever. And that's a lot of the guys, their cheats are a 1-2 at the top in the newer sets. In the older books, the cheat is a 95-97 in the in the old book, right? So it's either a 2 or 3% chance of the managers coming in. So I hope this helps you guys out. I hope you guys, whoever just got their books and downloaded their games, I really like this game. I wanted to see it succeed. I want to see people enjoying the game and really having a true good wrestling experience out of this. Again, I'm not affiliated with Mr. S.D. Patrick. I sent an email about this. I haven't got any responses from him or anything. concerning this. I assume he's a busy guy, you know, so things are going on. But you know, I really want, you know, those who are out there that I've kind of like showed this game to, and you know, I'm trying to say that, hey, this is a great game. That, you know, maybe one or two of these things, if you fix them, you try them out, and be like, hey, this is pretty smooth, and you know, this is actually a decent game, and you know, you keep playing and have fun with it. Uh, so yeah, thank you again, guys. I'll end it there. Thank you so much. I hope this helps you with your startup for your game. Um, Again, you know, and another thing, you know, if you want to, you know, get matches going, you know, like, you know, sometimes just watch some of the old source material, see how storylines played out. You know, because you could totally do that in this game, right? You have all the guys, pretty much from the territory from whatever time period. So you know, again, use a bit of your imagination. You know, and you know, again, watch some of the old source material. If you want to do your own thing and make your own feuds and stuff like that, you know, go for it. You know, but again, sometimes just watching some of the old source material might give you kind of ideas, you know, rejuvenate ideas, or you know, just play out the cards, you know, as they happen and see how they go in your own, you know, association or federation, and see what you think, you know, how they played out. But I think again, just doubling the damage on the moves doesn't make the game impossible to play or take, you know, hours on hours for one match. I think it plays pretty smoothly at actually double damage because both guys are doing double damage, right? So I think that's a pretty fair system, and I would say give it a try, guys. If you own the game, give it a try, see what you think. I'd love to hear comments and feedback concerning this. You know, if you think these ideas are great, you know, let Mr. St. Patrick know that, hey, you know, I think this was a good idea. You saw it on Pop's channel, or you know, if you have your own ideas, even please let me know what you think. If you have your own ideas and you're incorporating them into this game, because this game has been out for a while. So whoever is playing this game, you know, previous to me, because this has been out since 2020, right? So if you have your own ideas that you incorporated into this game, please let me know. That'd be great to see what you've incorporated into this game and what flows for you. So, anyways, guys, thanks again for watching. I didn't want to make this a super long video, but but I thank you. I think I fit everything in that I wanted to fit in. I hope you guys have fun. You know, I've had a lot of fun filming these different videos and showcasing the game and getting it out to people and you know, seeing what a great game this is. So thanks again for watching, guys, and hopefully again I will see you soon in the next video. Take care, guys, and God bless.